I think there might be an easier way to make crispy pork belly skin with juicy tender meat.
Big thanks to KamadoJoe for sponsoring this episode.
I've got a beautiful pork belly right here, and it's got a beautiful piece of skin on it. Of course, I can make pulled pork out of it by just cooking it for a long time, and it will be absolutely perfect. But I don't want to miss out on that skin, so I'm going to cook it as a whole, and I'm going to try and make crispy skin while at the same time I get juicy and tender pork. Now, there are a lot of recipes explaining how to get crispy skin, and I've made a couple of these in the past. I'm talking about drying out the skin, poking holes in it, rubbing it with vinegar. Personally, I think we can do without those tricks and still have delicious pork belly skin. And of course, there's only one way to find out, because the way I'm going to try and do it today is I'm going to slow cook this pork belly. You see, I've got this theory where if we cook it long enough at a low temperature, that we not only cook the meat, but we also cook the skin. And then all I need to do is just crispen it up at the end by blasting it with a little bit of heat. Will it work? Well, let's find out. I already set up my KamadoJoe Connected Joe by putting in some charcoal, a piece of smoke wood, the slow roller, the grill grates, and then I set it up to smoke at a temperature of 120 degrees Celsius. While the barbecue is coming up to temperature, let's talk about this beautiful pork belly. Now, as you can see, we got a nice bit of skin here, and the pork belly also has plenty of meat. So what I'm going to do is absolutely nothing. And what I mean by that is I'm just going to place it on a tray that sits on a rack so that it won't be sitting in its own juices, and at the same time all of the juices from the pork belly don't hit the grill. Because if you get fat rendering down into the barbecue, you're going to get a little bit of smoke from that fat burning, and that's going to give you a little bit of an intense flavor. So I'd rather capture that in this tray than throw it out when I don't need it anymore. So all I need to do now is season it with a little bit of barbecue seasoning, and in this case I'll be putting on a little bit of PitmasterX pork seasoning, which is absolutely perfect for pork. And I'm trying not to hit the skin with it, because if I want to blast it with heat later on, I'm going to need that to be clean as possible, so I don't burn the seasoning. Plenty of seasoning on. This can now go into the barbecue, which is currently running at 121 degrees Celsius. Let's slide it in, close the lid, and now I'm just going to let it sit there. It's probably going to take about 5 hours of cooking time before this pork belly is fully cooked. When I'm saying fully cooked, I mean that the core temperature of the pork belly is around 92 degrees Celsius core temperature. This is comparable to cooking briskets. Those are done at a temperature of 92 degrees Celsius, and if you slice into it, they almost fall apart. And I want my pork belly to almost fall apart, but not quite. While I wait, I might as well whip up a quick batch of barbecue sauce. And of course, I'm going to be making the PitmasterX sweet apple barbecue sauce. The recipe that you guys like the best, and personally, it's one of my favorites too. I already heated up this pan in a small wood stove that I have standing around here for a little bit of heat. I guess it's hot. All right. That's a little over a quarter cup, but half of it evaporated. Apple juice, good quality apple juice. I'm going to add a cup of ketchup, a tablespoon of Worcester sauce. Normally I would use a tablespoon of the PitmasterX classic barbecue seasoning, but since I'm doing pork, I'm going to use the pork seasoning so that the flavors will match up just a little bit better. 2 tablespoons of dark brown sugar, a tablespoon of honey. If you look for the most popular tab, then you'll find this recipe is just maybe the 3rd or the 4th recipe after all of the seasoning recipes. I'm going to stick this back into the fire so all of the sugars can dissolve and all of the seasoning can blend together. And once it's nice and hot, just pour it in a bottle or a jar like this. And then we have it on standby for when our pork is finished. Let's see what the core temperature is. 92 degrees Celsius core temperature, that's exactly what I'm looking for. I'm going to take this off the barbecue now. I'm going to take a closer look at it. Super exciting. The question is, did it work? That looks freaking amazing. We got the crust. Nice crispy outside, but the big question is, what does the skin look like? Let's see if we can flip this around carefully. The problem is it's super soft. It's super delicate. Let me flip this around so you can actually see what I'm talking about. It's sticking and the skin actually became soft. So the skin is, the gelatin of the skin is now sticking to the grill grates and not to the meat. And of course I need the skin to be on the meat. I can't have it to drop off. That's how delicate it has become. But look how flexible that skin is. Before I started cooking, it was really hard and really tough. And now it became this really subtle, tender thing. I cooked the skin to the point where you can actually eat it. It disintegrated by the long cooking time, which was a little over 6 hours. And I think that says enough. The time, the temperature, it did its work. The skin is practically edible, but not enjoyable. Because that soft skin that's become kind of gelatinous, I don't think it will be that tasty. So my idea is to take the slow roller off, check the charcoal, ramp up the temperature and just sear that skin until we got a nice crispy crust. Let's see if it works. And I'm going to set it to 250 degrees Celsius. That literally took 3 minutes to get up to the temperature. I'm opening the lid now. I'm just forgetting about all the control environment. I'm just gonna focus on that skin and I'm gonna see if I can get this skin ultra crispy. I'm keeping my eye on this thing. I want to see what happens. I can definitely already see bubbles coming into the skin. And since I also want to put some barbecue sauce on, I think now is the time just to slather some on, get it nice and sticky. Like that. A bit of the sugars on. Oh man, that's gonna be good. I'm seeing some skin bubbling up. Look at that. Whoa. Starting to bubble up. I think that is the result that I'm looking for. I'm gonna get this off the grill now, onto the board. Well, the looks are fantastic. We got beautiful crispy skin. What was before gelatinous is now crispy and it looks like popcorn. So this should be good. It's a good sign that we turned the pork belly skin into chicharrones. Now, only one way to find out if it worked out. There we go. Oh, insane. Oh, that makes me so hungry. So amazing and so crispy. Like you want the full length of the skin to crispen up. And that is just what happened. No need to poke, no need to use vinegar, no need to use salt. No need to do anything other than just cook it long enough. A little bit of barbecue sauce at the bottom, nice and sticky, top with a crunchy skin, and pull apart tender pork. Oh, seriously, it tastes so good. This is pork perfection. And now you can see how you can simplify things, techniques, break it down and turn it into something freaking delicious. I think I might need to try this technique on porchetta. What do you think? See you guys in the next one.